Well, 1 year ago, South Africa entered into a government of national unity after the ANC failed to secure a majority vote in the May elections last year. After weeks of scrambling and negotiations, 10 political parties signed a statement of intent on a coalition government. Not surprisingly, parties in the GNU, mainly the DA and the ANC, have butted heads over policies threatening the stability of the administration. So let's take a look at the future of the GNU with Wits University Emeritus Professor and Political Analyst Susan Booysen and Professor William Gumede, who is with the Wits School of Governance. To both of our guests, thanks very much indeed for joining us for this conversation on a Sunday morning. Prof. Booysen, I want to kick the discussion off with you. It's been a tumultuous 12 months. There have been several threats to walk out of the relationship, particularly by the DA. How would you rate the first birthday of the GNU?
Well, it is a question of survival. It has survived, given all the challenges we've seen, perhaps sometimes against expectation. Although in the bigger scheme of things, it was a union that worked mutually, has been working mutually. The ANC has got a guaranteed partner in there. It needn't go to an alternative majority that makes policy demands, partners that would constitute an alternative majority as policy demands, or lots of little ones, as they did try in the case of the VAT debacle, to get an alternative coalition going. But it's an interesting, although endurable coalition that is quite unique in a way that so much conflict and adversity clashes are ingrained in this coalition. So it is a type of coalition where the parties must agree that they continue to be opponents, yet within a very convenient government majority within this kind of coalition, so it's not the usual bonhomie, goodwill, learning to cooperate. They cooperate, but it's very often under duress. So for me, this is a very unique characteristic that has emerged in this coalition, the so-called government of national unity. And because of this, it's really a combination of coalition and opposition in one. And that makes it quite a unique coalition for South Africa.
Yeah. Prof. Gumede, it's probably more accurate to refer to it as a coalition government, right? And not a government of national unity. I like how the Daily Maverick is describing it as a duct tape government. It might not be elegant, says the writer, but it has been able to stick things together, at least for the meantime.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's not operating elegantly, but I think it's not its role to operate elegantly. I think for me, the positive thing, I'll start as a positive. At least the country is much more it's a much more hopeful place. And secondly, although it has been a fractious first year, it's still a better year than previous majority-based ANC governments, the last 2 decades. And that is very, very important. The sense of hope that it created, that the government of national unity with a number of parties together have created in the country, it has created a sense of hope. And, one can't create jobs, reduce poverty and get economic growth unless there's a sense of growth. The third thing for me that is very, very important, it has brought, I think, a diversity of parties, but also and colors, and a diversity of energy and ideas at a national level. It is very important because South Africa is the world's most diverse society. Our diversity actually will give us the growth. Not majority-based parties cannot give us the growth. We've seen it the last 30 years. Neither one color or one group will ever give us the growth. And I think that's a very, very important thing for all South Africans to understand, that without diversity and collaboration at all levels, we'll never get success, ever. And I think what the GNU has helped us is beginning to get easy to move from majority-based thinking, when the ANC was the majority, towards collaboration-based thinking. But we have to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of analysis as well on the first birthday of the GNU Professor Booysen, about green shoots, that we're seeing a lot of green shoots. Prof. Gumede has also talked about the fact that there seems to be more hope in the country. I mean, these are, I suppose, things that will come. There's no real sentiment of that on the ground. Just thinking of the Eastern Cape floods this week, thinking of Statistics South Africa releasing the unemployment figures, more young people again without jobs, and the list goes on and on. So where are the green shoots for the ordinary man and woman, child, youth on the ground, Professor Sam?
Michelle, they really still remain very few and far between. If we see how the economy is going, it is not taking off in leaps and bounds, and it's a very jagged curve up and down. It's going to be so crucial for the continued stability, approximate stability of this coalition government, that there must be economic growth much more than the decimal points, if at all, that we're experiencing at this time. Any government, also coalition governments, stand as strong as the economic hope that they bring will be sustained. And so far, we do not see that sustained hope. The economy is hardly growing, and the advances, there may be a few in the pipeline, but it could be quite a long while until they bring in the benefits. And in the next election, the coalition government is going to be judged by how well it has been performing, turning around the economy. Right. So that is a place where there's very conditional green shooting. If we look at Parliament, I think in Parliament we see potential green shoots in the sense that there is more transparency, there is more accountability. It is dawning on the ANC, also at the executive level, that maybe there should be consultation, something the ANC doesn't quite pronounce very well yet. They really have been trying to do coalition government on their own conditions. And really for coalition government to have a good chance to work in a longer term, even just throughout the current term, means that there will have to be dedication to consultation, to doing things together, to be seen to be cooperating, even if internally different factions of the ANC are pulling in different directions on the coalition.
Yeah, certainly. Prof. Gumede, Susan talks about, there's more improvement that we're seeing in Parliament, more oversight. And I suppose one of the big ways that we can see that now is from the budget process over the past few months. And if we look at the budget debate, which was usually just a rubber stamping exercise to pass the budget through Parliament, that was no longer the case. That's a huge deal.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm being very excited about what's happening in Parliament. And there were concerns early on that because the parliamentary grouping now, the opposition in Parliament, is now they're just around under 30%. And the GNU has, getting closer to 70% of majority, that potentially Parliament as opposition is going to be very weak. But I think the young blood, the fresh blood in Parliament from opposition parties has been absolutely great at beginning to scrutinize the executive in a way that we haven't seen much before. And I think, that's a really good the increase in accountability, but also we're beginning to see the increase in accountability in cabinet itself, because almost the non-ANC partners of cabinet, they are playing a role as holding the ANC cabinet ministers accountable, because, there's many cabinet ministers of the ANC that's been there for decades. Now, if you've been in a place for decades, you're complacent, and so on, you don't care about performance anymore because you're going to be reappointed. So we're starting to get that kind of accountability where non-ANC partners are putting pressure on ANC ministers also to be accountable. And then maybe, the third one is that because the non-ANC partners want to show the public and the country that they can perform, they are working hard and they are trying to show the effectiveness. And that's very, very important because we haven't seen that, because, the negative side always of majority-based type of parties is that you don't get that accountability, and you don't get the pressure, internal pressure, to perform. But as Susan said, it is very important now that we have to get the growth type of initiatives going, and it will mean we have to cancel ANC type of policies that are anti-growth. That is going to be absolutely key. We're not in that space yet. It has just been a year essentially of learning how to work together, but the country doesn't have enough time, to take such a long time to learn. We have to at least get the low-hanging fruit, and part of the low-hanging fruit is we have to get anti-growth policies that has been there out of the way. We have to cancel it in order to unlock the growth.
And Prof. Booysen, just lastly from you, we are of course headed for the local government elections next year. How do you reckon this first year of the GNU will impact the polls?
When we get to these very crucial local government elections, late probably November next year, we still have to see the specific date. I think we're going to see much more that national politics and national parliament and executive and cabinet's responsibilities come into the local picture when you look at oversight and direction and interventions on electricity, on water and housing. Those issues are going to be very, very strong at local government level and in those elections. Of course, we have seen quite a few by-elections in the meantime. So we know by now that contestation among GNU partners in local government elections is going to take place. It won't necessarily endanger the stability of the national GNU because the local government of national unities don't quite work. Because also from a study that I've just completed from Mavengubwe Institute, we've seen there how it's really a free-for-all, how anything goes at local government level, how any political parties, even in one or two places, the DA and the EFF, come together and have a coalition government. So there are so many different formats for contestation that are coming out at the local government level, and I think we can probably see that it can coexist with national, but it is going to be a difficult time for the coalition because as I mentioned, so many local issues are also national issues, and there's an increasing realization of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me thank you both for your time, a reflection on the first year of the Government of National Unity. Wits University Emeritus Professor and Political Analyst Susan Booysen and Professor William Gumede at the Wits School of Governance.